2 years ago I went over to the Central Coast to do a little backpacking and fishing. And while I was over there I was planning to do a coastal survival video, but the state beaches were all shut down to fishing and foraging for any marine life. So I wasn't able to do much. A few areas I did find were pretty picked over, not many fish. So I didn't get very much useful video over there to put together anything decent. One of the things I wanted to try is to see if there was some way to make salt water drinkable. I brought along my backpack, had some gear in it. I had the Frontier Pro water filter here, and I thought, see if it would reduce the salinity enough to make it drinkable. But of course it didn't. About the only way you really can make salt water drinkable is by use of a still. So the idea was to go through my backpack and look and see what kind of other gear I had. Maybe I could put together a makeshift still of some kind. So this is some of the gear I had in backpack. I pulled that out and brought it back home and kind of looked at it here. I had some surgical tubing, paracord, water bottle, cup. I was using a tin cup at the time. Anyway, I decided to put this all together to see if I could make together some kind of a makeshift still out of just the gear that I normally would carry with me in my backpack. Anyway, I found that I could take the mouthpiece off this water bottle and the surgical tubing would fit right on it. And this is kind of the setup I put together. The idea was to build a fire under the bottle and have surgical tubing transport the steam into the cup, and the idea was that the cup would have some water in it. You can have a little salt water in your mixture. It actually helps with dehydration. And so starting out with the 1/4 inch of salt water at the bottom and then putting the surgical tubing into that water, it would condense better than just the tubing itself, which is a poor conductor. Anyway, this is a test I'm going to do. I put some water with a bunch of salt in it here. I'm using an MSR camp stove here so that I can maintain a constant temperature on this. Using other methods, a campfire or wood gas stove, it's going to vary too much. In order to do the test, I need to keep a constant temperature so I can compare different methods of doing this. This appears to be working pretty well though, so. You can see here water bubbles are coming up. Now you don't want that to get into your bottle. You just want the steam to come over in there. So this rise here is preventing those bubbles from getting into the other side and getting into the water bottle. I don't know if you can see it, but you can see the bubbles here. You don't want that to get into the bottle. You just want the steam. Now that water is really splashing out of there now. I'm going to try turning down the flame. That's going to kind of throw off my efficiency rating of this project. Okay, we got about 6.5, close to 7 ounces maybe of water or salt water left from the bottle. And we got a plastic top that's in good condition. My fears of it melting were unfounded. As long as you keep a couple inches of water in the bottle, I'd say you're safe. Hose stood up well. The 10 ounces we got on it wasn't great. I think that you'd have to increase the capacity all the way around, maybe a 32-ounce steel container, and then filling the other steel container, the 1 quart or 1 liter bottle, whatever that is, filling that with water would work better. Definitely need to put your container in some kind of a cooling device like the water cup. and maybe changing the water out if possible to keep the container cool so the condensation process will go along all right. Okay, it's time to do the taste test here. Take a drink of this now that it's cooled down. Perfect. No salt at all taste in there. A little bit of a plastic taste from the surgical tubing. Other than that, delicious. I posted a video earlier of a makeshift survival still. This is a little larger version you can build at your base camp if you have a little more equipment available. I'm using a solar-powered wood gas stove here to generate heat. This will generate a lot of heat. A 38-ounce stainless steel wide-mouth water bottle. And I'm using 3/8-inch surgical tubing about 3 feet. And it's going into a 20-ounce stainless steel water bottle that's immersed in water in a cup. This setup will produce more water and faster than the makeshift still. The only components you'll need to add to your already existing gear are these two fittings. One's a brass plug, a 1/4-inch brass plug. The other's a piece of brass pipe that was threaded on both ends. I cut it in half and ground it smooth so it won't hurt the surgical tubing if you put it on there. These are tapered and they are self-tapping. You will need to drill a 1/4-inch hole in the top of your wide-mouth steel container to accommodate the new fittings. Here's the plug-in, and that's what you'll use in normal conditions until you need to make the still. When you're ready to make the still, just take that fitting out and put the new one in to accommodate the hose. Now your surgical tubing will attach to that. Be sure that there's smooth edges on top though, then you'll want to break your hose. Here it is set up. I'm using the brass fittings because they won't react with the salt water and corrode. I use some paracord to hold the bottle down into the cup where I have some cool water. You may want to filter the water through your bandana into the 28-ounce bottle first if there's a lot of sediment in it. And always keep a couple ounces of water at the bottom of the 28-ounce water bottle to make sure it doesn't overheat and melt your top. Now this should purify the water. The only exception would be any chemicals that might have a lower boiling point than water, such as ammonia if you were trying to purify urine. By boiling the water for 5 minutes before putting the cap on the 28-ounce bottle, it should burn off all of those chemicals.